Seeing the situation deteriorating, police would go for an arrest, and it's at this point that Antoine
break free. I'm gone.
Can you come over here, man?
No, I'm afraid of y'all, sir.
Why are you afraid?
It's been 3 years, sir. I'm afraid of y'all.
I just did 3 years,
I'm gonna walk you
sir.
through. Why are you doing that?
I know how to fill it out.
Why are you doing that?
I know how to fill. Am I ready?
Yeah.
No, what's
I'm gone. I'm gone.
Oh.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
That is rife with stories of fast food controversy, be it reports of contaminated meals being served to customers.
Now, I ain't gonna lie. When I was at Taco Bell, there was some contamination going on. We done dropped the meat on the ground and scooped it back up because it was late. Mind you, this was years ago. As long as you weren't in the Dallas area, you safe. If you was in Dallas, you might have had some of that floor taco meat, possibly. And it was a Taco Bell / Pizza Hut. It had at the Pizza Hut, one time there was a roach swimming in the pizza sauce. But hey, as long as y'all wasn't in the Dallas area, you safe.
Vile instances of employee misconduct.
Oh my gosh.
Or video showcasing psychotic customer meltdowns. There's something about fast food restaurants. It's like the most mind-boggling scenarios play out at these places. And the online world just can't seem to get enough of these tales. In this installment of Fast Food Disasters, we'll be looking at some of the most infamous fast food fiascos out there. And I couldn't think of a better place to start than the Wendy's gator throwing incident. Many of you watching may be familiar with a mean-spirited prank that's often pulled on hapless fast food workers. That prank being fire in the hole. The act involves a delinquent fast food customer ordering a large soft drink at a drive-thru window only to then hurl the drink back at the restaurant worker.
That's a violation. Y'all, don't tell me y'all was doing that, bro.
Drenching the poor soul in the process. Sadly, fire in the hole has become a time-tested prank, popular for multiple
Because I'm the type, when I was young, I would have flashed. I would have jumped out on y'all.
Generations of young people at this point. And unsurprisingly, dozens have actually been criminally prosecuted for performing this
As
stunt.
they should
But
be.
of the many disturbing examples of fire in the hole
spamming
being
that like on
performed,
TikTok,
no
y'all.
instance tops the time a live alligator was involved. The story begins in October of 2015 with 23-year-old Florida man Joshua James.
There you
Joshua
go.
James had been described as somewhat of an outdoorsman, a Florida redneck with a penchant for animal wrestling. Friends
Appreciate
of the
that
man
follow,
say
man.
that Joshua recreationally caught snakes, lizards, and most importantly to this story, alligators. On one October day, Josh and a small group of associates managed to wrangle a gator, a young one approximately 3.5 feet in length. Initially aggressive and thrashing, the wild reptile would eventually become docile, likely exhausted from its fight with the Florida men. With a live gator now in their possession, the boys begin to ask themselves, what next? Fried gator? A new pet?
Nah, we gonna throw it in the drive-thru.
None of the above. Joshua James and his friends, likely inspired by some of the viral fire in the hole videos on social media at the time, decided they'd put their own Florida spin on the already dangerous prank. They decided instead of throwing soda at a fast food employee, they
gonna
would
throw
throw
the
their
gator
live alligator into a
in
drive-thru
the drive-thru
window. The story goes that Joshua and one of his gator wrangling accomplices would later pull up to the Wendy's drive-thru restaurant located in Royal Palm Beach, Florida. The men ordered a drink and then drove up to the drive-thru window to meet the unfortunate soul on the receiving end of their devious stunt. During the
This is the video?
through interaction, the worker turned their back to the group and seeing their opportunity,
Look how quick they got.
the gator from the back seat of his truck and hurled the tormented reptile through the drive-thru window. The startled beast hissed as it landed inside
That little bitty gator.
Wendy's, sending workers into
That was a violation, though.
The
I ain't
cashier
gonna lie.
was so
They violated.
terrified by the presence of the alligator, she jumped out of the drive-thru window
Dang.
as Josh sped away in his truck. The gator-tossing gang likely feeling that they'd committed the greatest act of fire in the hole in history. And while this may be true, the act would come with consequences, as not only did Josh and his friends harm the gator by throwing it, they petrified everybody inside of the Wendy's restaurant. Wendy's management would notify
Oh, nah, that's big. Nah, that's big. I can't lie. We used to, at the Taco Bell I worked at, we had rats too. We had a rat that was probably about half the size of that, but that's a big old gator though.
Authorities over the gator inside of their facility. It was later captured and released back into the wild by Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation officers. They traced the soft drink purchased at the time of the gator throwing back to Joshua James. After a thorough investigation, the man was arrested several months later. He was taken into custody where he would confess to being the Wendy's gator thrower. As a result of his alligator antics, Joshua was facing some pretty serious charges. The most remarkable of these charges being aggravated assault with a deadly weapon with the intent.
Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon with the intent to do less than murder. I was about to say
unlawful possession of a gator. After being arrested and charged, the man posted bail and was released from jail. Shortly after getting out, Joshua was approached by a group of journalists and he agreed to do an ad hoc interview with them. And the man was rather candid in the interview, saying that he didn't mean any harm by his stunt. He just wanted to do something funny. And he also claims that he had a friend that worked at the Wendy, so he thought it wouldn't be that big of a deal if he threw the gator in there. Well, you were wrong about that, pal.
So the person you threw it at was your friend or no?
No, it was a different person, but I'm sure he's working there at the time and got a chance to see it.
Why?
Do you have anything to say to the people at Wendy's?
That's my fault. I shouldn't have did that.
I'm sorry for what I did. I mean, just being stupid, not thinking, and obviously I found out what the consequences were, and I gotta pay for them. So
right.
So you never meant to harm anybody yourself?
No, absolutely not. I never meant for anybody to get hurt or anything like that. You know, it was a good laugh kind of thing. Yeah.
In May of 2016, Joshua would plead guilty to his charges, which had been slightly softened. These charges included misdemeanor assault and unlawful possession of a gator.
Over some BS.
The man was given 12 months of probation and compelled to complete
12
hours
months
of community service, and he had to pay a fine and court costs of $1,200.
Okay.
A Florida wildlife worker commented on the judge's sentencing. He may have thought this was something funny he was doing, but I've been bitten by alligators. I've seen what alligators
he lucky
can
nobody
do,
got chomped.
and I think that's probably something the judge took a look at. The gator tosser's disregard for public safety landed him a criminal record. Our next fast food disaster story involves another highly ignorant man. A man so dumb that he posted a video of himself committing a fast food related crime onto YouTube. When you're surfing the web, it's often common to see articles and videos showcasing secret menu items and menu hacks. One fast food hack out there is actually illegal.
What you in for throwing an alligator in the drive-thru?
Participate in, which brings us to the topic of the Del Taco scammer. Meet Robert Echeverria.
Scamming at Del Taco?
2008, Robert was featured in a rough shot video published to YouTube titled How to Scam Del Taco. This infamous video showcased Robert making a call to his local Del Taco restaurant wherein he attempts to trick the restaurant workers into giving him free food under the pretense that they had screwed up a previous order he had made.
He was running the big back play. Okay.
Which he never actually made an order. Robert and his affiliates shot this video in the parking lot of the very Del Taco that they would wind up scamming. The act took place in Rialto, California, about 50 miles east of Los Angeles, and the man was aided by two friends, 18-year-old Ian Roman and 18-year-old Brian Fawcett. Rob's deceptive phone call ruse involved him telling a story where he claims that he sent his two sons to pick up Del Taco and that the restaurant had completely screwed up the order and put sour cream on everything. He claims that after getting this screwed up order, he called Del Taco corporate over the matter and was given the green light to get a free meal.
How you doing, Rosie? My name's Robert Kennedy. I frequent your establishment about 2 to 3 times a week.
That's a lot of Del Taco, boy.
And I'm calling about an incident that happened. Earlier. I talked to the manager. They were getting off at the time. They told me to call in when I got home from work. Basically what happened was I sent my son Isaiah and my son Cody in for not a substantial amount of food, but for a good amount of food. And when the food came back, I told them to take it back. They had no receipt from the order, and the order contained sour cream, and I don't eat sour cream. And at the same time, our sodas were wrong. And when I called, I actually called corporate.
Called
told me to call the manager and that they will fix it. So that's what I'm basically calling for.
It seems like
this is a lot of work for a $15 meal, bro.
Rob has like rehearsed this story. Like you gotta wonder how many times
this is a
he's
different
pulled this
level
stunt.
of big
Now,
back
when
activity,
it had
bro.
become clear that the restaurant workers were buying his tall tale, he would send Ian and Brian inside to pick up their free meal. Under the guise of them being his sons, the two 18-year-olds would go in and pick up the fraudulent spread. The Del Taco evac was caught on camera by Rob's gang of scammers. Rob's minions would then return to his vehicle with a bag filled to the brim of Del Taco. The Tex-Mex kingpin could be seen braggadociously munching his spoils as the video comes to a close. The Del Taco scam was a complete success. Rob's Del Taco scam tutorial video was uploaded to YouTube on February 22nd of 2008
Running up
to the
them
Nickel and
views,
Dime
too.
YouTube channel. Opinions from the public would quickly flood into its comment section, with many praising Rob
Hey,
for
bro,
his
why you
elaborate
stealing,
scheme,
bro?
while others warned him of potential Del Taco retribution. This guy is a good con man. The simple details he adds really makes it more believable. The son's name, saying he has salmonella, etc. That seems like
He
quite a lot of
said
effort to
salmon-
go through to
For
avoid
that's where I'm saying, like, this is a lot for a $15 meal.
paying even a few bucks for a few tacos. Using Del Taco's kindness against them, this is what makes the world
Calm
a
down.
colder and
Calm
less
down.
kind place. I hope this guy pays the maximum price under the law for this. He's a true jerk. Clever social engineering tactic. I don't think this was a good idea in any way, but I'll give the dude credit. He's a good talker. I frequent your establishment 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah, right. Looks more like 23 times.
Why
a
they
week.
violate, bro?
If this guy needs anything, it's not Del Taco. In the early days of YouTube, the Del Taco scam video was truly one of a kind, and it went viral, amassing tens and eventually hundreds of thousands of views.
Oh, I was about to
Unfortunately
say.
for Rob, though, this attention meant that the Del Taco scam video would eventually make it back to Del Taco themselves. Perhaps
They
with
said,
YouTube
"What? He
being
been
so
getting
niche
over
at
on
the
this?"
time, Rob never
$7
expected
give me a
his
bag of chips
fast
and
food
water now.
victim to
Facts.
find the video. For this naivety, he would be punished severely. Apparently, a viewer who knew Rob in real life recognized him in the video and called police over the matter.
That is some hating. that is a different level of hate right there. You gotta really not rock with, bro. I'm calling the police on gang. Nah, it ain't happening. That's different.
Reporting his fraudulent activity to authorities.
Yo,
With
that's
all the
different.
evidence they needed publicly viewable on YouTube, they promptly tracked the man down and arrested Rob. This obese fraudster was hit with a felony commercial burglary charge and placed on a $125,000
Over Del Taco.
bond. Police had this to say about Rob after he was arrested and put in jail. He was quite proud of himself there in the video, but he cried like a big baby back here. Both Brian Fawcett and Ian Hobbs were also arrested due to their connection with the Del Taco scam. In March of 2008, Robert would plead guilty and was sentenced to serve 30 days in jail along
You had to serve 30 days in jail for finessing from Del Taco, dude.
with 3 years of probation and
Oh my gosh.
was completely banned from the Rialto del Taco. After the conclusion of the case, the district attorney commented, "I tried to get him to stay away from all Del Tacos, but the judge said just the one." As for Ian and Brian, unfortunately, I'm unable to ascertain exactly what their sentences were, but I would imagine it was less than Rob. the
Bro,
king-
imagine you like, what you in here for? I was stealing from Del Taco. You know what I'm saying? I got 30 days in here. You know what I'm saying? 3 years probation. 3 years probation is actually insane. I can't lie.
Recording yourself scamming Del Taco is pretty stupid,
Yeah,
but
but understandable
Rob
if it's
has
Taco
nothing
Bell.
on our next guy, an individual that went to jail over cold fries from McDonald's. Before we get into our next story,
People they be getting out of body about their food. One thing you cannot play with is somebody's food, though.
when a fast food joint gets your order wrong, it can be frustrating. But it's not the end of the world. In light of a screw-up, most people ask the restaurant for a refund or simply wait around for them to remake the order correctly. However, there does exist a small
up, Bank
cohort
Hunt?
of individuals that have reacted disproportionately to a restaurant getting their order wrong, such as the folks who have called police over mismatched items in their bags.
And what did the owner say to you?
Well, I ordered a chicken sandwich, and basically the owner, I told him right before I ordered, I can't eat tomatoes because I'm allergic.
It goes without saying.
So he's trying to call the law because they gave him tomatoes on his burger because he allergic.
saying that it takes a room temperature IQ to think it's worth calling the
what?
police over a fast food order.
TikTok, what's
But
good,
you
man?
know
Keep
what's
liking
even
that stream.
more
How y'all doing today,
outrageously
TikTok?
stupid? An active warrant out for your arrest. Meet 24-year-old Antoine Sims. In August of 2022, Mr. Sims would enter and place an order at a Kennesaw, Georgia McDonald's location. This man, who was said to have been with his fiancée at the time, found himself becoming frustrated at the length of time it was taking the employees to prepare his food. Nearly 10 minutes had passed and Sims was still waiting.
What's the longest, like, when you waiting on your food at the, like, at a fast food restaurant, where you gonna be like, you gonna ask like, yo, you know, how much longer is food for ...
Man
like, how long?
eventually snapped, and with no receipt in hand, he questioned the cashier what was taking so long. Well, it turns out that Antoine Sims' order number had already been called, and he didn't notice it because he didn't have his receipt. His food was ready and had been sitting out ready to be picked up for several minutes at this point. After this discovery, the man
20,
would inspect
30 minutes,
his meal,
10,
only to
30,
find that his French fries had
20.
become cold. Enraged by this development, Sims was said to have furiously demanded staff to make him some fresh French fries.
Why? It ain't gotta be all that. Just be like, yo, listen, I didn't know that. Y'all mind making me some a fresh batch of fries?
The man has been quoted as saying this to management, quote, "You better give me some fucking French fries, motherfucker."
Whoa.
This situation was said to have escalated into a physical altercation with Antoine Sims allegedly throwing his food and drink at the McDonald's manager. Due to Mr. Sims' aggressive action, the incensed man was kicked out of the store by the McDonald's team, and he was
It's
told
not
to
that
never
serious, no
return.
lie.
Antoine Sims was livid after being thrown out of the establishment, and in his rage, he decides to make a phone call. The
Okay.
vengeful man found it
scared
prudent
me
to
for a
dial
second.
911 and explained to authorities that McDonald's was refusing to supply him with a fresh order of French fries. After much haranguing, dispatch would eventually capitulate and send officers
really
to the scene
slid?
to investigate this French fry fiasco. A short time
you,
later,
Abeezy.
officers would arrive at McDonald's
appreciate
and
it.
police body cam footage would record Antoine detailing his dilemma.
I guess our order was called, but we don't even know our order number. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So now our food is sitting there cold. So when I come up, I say, you know,
Bro called the law about fries being cold. He called the law. Imagine what he would call the law about if it was like anything else.
try to fry the fries.
He'll call the law about
warm,
anything.
but they're not hot. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I just asked him, can we get some fresh fries? Okay. He said, okay, the fries are not hot. Touch the fries. I said, no, they're not hot. And at this point, you don't touch them. So, you know, yeah, can I just get it fresh set? Okay. So is he getting the fries? And I said, can I also get the receipt? That was 5 minutes ago. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? He, excuse me, sir. 5 minutes ago, I can run my store however I want to run my store. This now, sir, I don't know. He said, matter of fact, you can leave my property. Get off my property now.
The ever so patient police selected his first and last name. Then they entered the restaurant to speak with the McDonald's franchise owner. The McDonald's workers would point out that Antoine was the aggressor, and the owner of the restaurant would also point out that he noticed a probation anklet on Antoine's leg.
Snitching.
Basically
They ain't got nothing to do with the
suggesting that
fries.
He thought the man was
I ain't on nobody's side. Everybody in the wrong here.
on probation.
It's just that all his food's cold.
Okay.
He's burning my hands, so whatever. That's, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Took it to the next level, starts cussing me. You better give me fresh fries, It's like, what? Starts losing it, starts shoving his food at me. And I said, sorry. I said, well, tell you what, you can take your business elsewhere. Give me a car, I'll give you a refund. No, you're not going to give me an effing refund. You're going to give me food and my money back. So I don't want him CT. I don't want to ever have him back. Okay. I mean, dude's obviously on probation. Got an ankle bracelet on.
Oh yeah,
After speaking with the owner, it seemed as if police thought that McDonald's was in the right in this situation. The officer would then reapproach Mr. Sims and inform him that he was no longer allowed to go into the restaurant, and asked him if he would be willing to sign an acknowledgement form stating such. Still hung up.
How you get banned from McDonald's? You really got to be on nothing.
Up on getting new French fries, Mr. Sims wasn't thrilled about the development, but kind of played ball for the time being.
He does not want you coming back in the store. He actually wants us to criminally trespass you, so you will not be allowed back at this McDonald's.
I don't even stay here.
It doesn't matter. He's requested it. We got to do it. It's not a big deal. It's a piece of.
Charge me?
No, we're not charging you. It's a piece of paper we're going to give you. That's going to say, hey, you can't come back to this McDonald's. That's all it is.
Wow. Like,
Yeah.
no, just realistically, did I
Bro, get out of here,
know.
bro.
I'm not here to even figure that out. I'm here to keep the peace.
Now at this point, the officer would go back to his police cruiser to get that acknowledgement form that he mentioned, but while inside his car, he decided to do a little bit of investigation about the theory that Antoine Sims was a man on probation. He runs his name through the police database. And after running Antoine's name through his police cruiser computer, the officer was stunned to discover that the man had an active warrant out for his arrest. Turns out, Antoine Sims had been arrested back in 2018. The man was suspected of being connected to the murder of a woman named Adeliza Mertovic. This woman was thought to have been accidentally killed in a botched drug deal, and prosecutors were alleging Antoine Sims of assisting the perpetrators in hiding evidence of the crime. Apparently,
and he called the law on himself about McDonald's.
A court date pertaining to this case while he was out on bond. Because of this, a warrant was put out for his arrest. The officer, who at this point was just stunned at the audacity of someone calling the police over something so petty with an active warrant, decided to play it cool and call for backup. He gets the acknowledgement form, goes back to Antoine with the intent of making an arrest. When the officer returned, he handed Antoine the acknowledgement form. The police commenced small talk, trying not to alert the man of his imminent arrest. Soon, additional officers would arrive, and at this point, Antoine Sims began to grow visibly paranoid. Seeing the situation deteriorating, police would go for an arrest, and it's at this point that Antoine
break free. I'm gone.
Can you come over here, man?
No, I'm afraid of y'all, sir.
Why are you afraid?
I just did 3 years, sir. I'm afraid of y'all.
I just did 3 years,
I'm gonna walk you through. Why are you doing that?
I know how to fill it out.
Why are you doing that?
I know how to fill. Am I arrested?
Yeah.
No, let's do it again.
I'm gone. I'm gone. Oh. Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Why are you doing that?
I know how to fill it out.
Why are you doing that?
I know how to fill. Am I arrested?
Yeah.
No, let's do it again.
Come on, bro. Falling like that? He gone. No, he got off on them.
Car.
I'm
the
good, bro.
fleet-footed French fry complainant ran from police for some time and even allegedly attempted to break into an apartment building during the pursuit. But eventually, officers tracked Antoine Sims down, tased the man, and took him into custody.
Tased him.
After arresting Sims, police would search his vehicle that he rode to McDonald's in and discovered 31 grams of marijuana. So
this nigga is fucking stupid, dude. This nigga is an idiot, bruh. This nigga is a idiot, bro. Oh my gosh, that's different. It's slight, like it's a little over an ounce, but dude, come on, bro.
In addition to being in trouble for skipping court, he now had an additional charge of possession with intent to distribute.
Oh
Antoine
my
Sims
gosh.
is now back in jail and awaits court relating to his alleged involvement in the death of Adeliza Mertovic. I'll end this segment with a YouTube comment under the police activity video showcasing the body cam footage of Antoine's arrest, which I think very well sums up the man's intelligence. This guy has the reasoning capabilities of a chicken McNugget.
Enough said.
Calling the cops over some cold French fries while you have an active warrant for your arrest is absurdly stupid. Antoine Sims would fit right in with our next harebrained fool caught up in a fast food disaster. That being the man who tried to impersonate In-N-Out Burger's CEO and got sued for it in civil court. In March of 2018, a man donning a suit entered an In-N-Out Burger establishment in San Fernando Valley, California.
Now this is kind of fire.
Himself by the name John Trollston, the sharply dressed man presented himself as the CEO of the company itself. Trollston claimed that he needed a burger and fry meal from the restaurant so that he could audit the place's quality and make sure that it was up to In-N-Out's
Bro, niggas be broke, but they be smart though.
standards. Some of the employees at the restaurant took the bait and gave the man food. but the
Oh, he
obvious
did it on video.
prank attempt at hand was caught on quickly by one of the managers, who denied
Like,
John
nigga, you are not the CEO.
Trollston the attention he was seeking. See, it turns out Mr. Trollston was actually an online prankster named Cody Roeder. Roeder had already successfully perpetrated a similar prank, which was recorded
He was getting views though
and published to his YouTube channel, Troll Munchies. Seeing through Mr. Trollston's ruse, the manager at this In-N-Out establishment would call police over the matter. Upon realizing the police had been alerted, Cody, aka John Trollston, hastily fled the restaurant and managed to escape the scene before the cops arrived. However, despite narrowly evading police confrontation, this wouldn't be the end of John Trollston's In-N-Out CEO impersonation antics. Cody would continue this same half-wit prank, hitting another In-N-Out location in Burbank, California, claiming that he was the CEO in an attempt to get free food. In the Burbank attempt, he goes as far as making a public scene by stepping on a burger in front of the restaurant's manager and customers.
Sir, I hate to say this, but your food's
I'm gonna take your burger. Sir, I need you to leave now.
Yeah. Sir, this is just, it's garbage.
He would avoid police incursion in this situation as well, and his videos continued to go up showcasing him pranking In-N-Out restaurants.
For sure.
But this Burbank incident would prove to be the last straw for In-N-Out. Apparently, prank channels have been swarming the areas and these In-N-Out restaurants around Los Angeles for some time, with many customers and employees complaining to the company about being filmed by opportunistic trolls and influencers who would visit their restaurants. As a result of Cody Roeder's In-N-Out Burger CEO impersonation pranks, Cody was sued by the company. Their lawsuit demanding that Cody be banned from In-N-Out Burger establishments, that he pay them $25,000.
My viewer strangest addictions, it's scary.
In damages,
but we can do it. We'll do it.
Let's
strike a forms next stream.
Issued against the man that, if violated, would incur $1,000 of damages for each infringement. While the outcome of this lawsuit isn't public, videos related to In-N-Out Burger were removed from the Troll Munchies channel, so I can only imagine that the lawsuit had legs to some degree.
He ran some money up.
In what's likely one of the most disturbing crimes in the history of fast food, we now get to our final fast food
I told
disaster.
y'all about this one, y'all.
The story of the McDonald strip search hoax. It's an incident involving a deeply unsettling crime that affected an 18-year-old employee. A crime that was facilitated due to the incompetence and negligence showcased by her management. On April 9th, 2004, at a McDonald's location in Mount Washington, Kentucky, assistant manager Donna Summers was working her shift when she got a phone call in her back office. Summers picked up the phone, and to the woman's surprise, the man on the line identified himself as a police officer, a man going by the name Officer Scott.
Listen, y'all, listen, pay attention.
Scott promptly informed the assistant manager that one of her employees, 18-year-old Louise Ogborn, was reported to police by a customer who claimed that Louise had stolen money from them at the restaurant. As a part of this policeman's investigation, the officer requested assistant manager Donna Summers to bring Louise to the manager's office and perform a search of the employee, under the premise of finding this allegedly stolen money. Donna Summers was initially skeptical at the claims made by the officer. However, the man on the phone was able to accurately describe Louise's physical appearance, and the man was able to put together a believable story that Donna Summers eventually believed to be legitimate. Under the assumption that she was aiding in a legit police investigation, while still on the phone with the officer, Donna summoned Louise to her office. And from here, things take a bizarrely
manager stupid ass. Like, when would a detective ever say, hey, we need you to go ahead and handle some business for us? Like, nigga, y'all come handle this business, nigga.
Dark turn. After Louise was in the office with Summers, Officer Scott ordered Donna Summers to perform a strip search on the employee.
Like what?
Under guidance from this disembodied authority figure,
you feel me,
the
bro?
assistant manager meticulously searched the clothing of Louise, to the point where the only article of clothing worn by the woman was a restaurant apron.
Now, also too, like, man, and you know, I'm not one to victim shame at all, but I'll just say this. Me personally, my manager started telling me get fucking naked in the back of the McDonald's motherfucking break room. They gonna hear me. They gonna be like, yo, this nigga tripping. Hey, he must not have did it, because he's spazzing out right now. I ain't taking shit off.
Nothing had been found on Louise throughout this meticulous search. In hindsight, it's clear that something unusual was going down here, but Donna Summers didn't necessarily see a problem with this very particular search that the officer was ordering her to do. After about 30 minutes into the search, with Officer Scott requesting more interrogation done on the woman, Donna Summers would apparently express that this investigation was taking too much of her time. And
he was saying some wild shit too, like have her like, can you have her jump up and down, like nigga, you're not even seeing this shit. Like they in the back.
Was interfering with operations.
He just weird on the phone.
The assistant manager would then leave the room and pass the phone along to another employee, 27-year-old Jason Bradley. Bradley was tasked with watching the accused Louise Ogborn until Donna Summers could return. Jason Bradley, now at the helm of the phone, began speaking with this alleged policeman. In subsequent interviews performed with Jason Bradley after this incident, the man claims that he felt that something was suspicious about the legitimacy of the officer.
This ain't real?
18-year-old Louise was terrified at this point, almost naked, and had been thoroughly searched with nothing found. The man thought, why wasn't the officer physically present if this was such a big deal? However, despite his suspicions, Jason Bradley would keep the phone line open with Officer Scott. After engaging in small talk with Officer Scott, sometime later, manager Donna Summers would return to inform those in the office of a rather unusual plan of action that was to take place. She informed everybody in the office that since the restaurant was so poorly staffed and that they were busy and couldn't really handle this on their own, that she had called her fiance, a man named Walter Nix, and this man would be coming to the—
I forgot about this. She called— The manager called her fiance, a random nigga, to pull up
restaurant to aid in the interrogation
to come
of
help
Louise
this
Ogborn.
situation.
Walter Nix was not a McDonald's employee and by no means should have been involved in this situation
at all.
But what becomes apparent as this story progresses is that Louise's management and her fellow McDonald's employees were deeply incompetent. After all, nobody had taken any action or raised an eyebrow at the concerning path that this bizarre investigation had gone down. An investigation being helmed by an officer that none of them had met.
Over the phone.
And sadly, Summers' boyfriend, Walter Nix's involvement in this situation would cause the entire McDonald's strip search incident to become far darker.
Yeah.
Walter Nix would arrive and man the phone sometime later, and what follows is 2 hours of Nix taking orders from Officer Scott on the phone.
Bro, like, it's like it's just a bunch of stupid ass niggas, just not talking about the girl, but it's a bunch of dumb ass niggas in there just fucking, so what'd you say we gotta do, officer?
What? Unspeakable abuse against Louise, including but not limited to sexual assault. The terrified woman feeling compelled to stay and endure this treatment under fear of getting in trouble with police. After being assaulted under orders from Officer Scott, Walter Nix would leave the room, and assistant manager Donna Summers would then send in staff custodian 58-year-old Tom Sims to speak with the police officer. Thankfully, Mr. Sims
nigga got
would be
sense.
the man to break the chain of abuse
this
that
nigga
was
was one that
occurring
had
against
sense.
this poor employee. Upon manning the phones, Officer Scott then instructed custodian Sims to remove Louise's apron. The custodian, who was already confused by the situation at hand, became extremely concerned upon hearing this request
said, "What?"
and felt that his fellow employees had played into the hands of some sort of twisted deviant, posing as an officer. The custodian immediately got assistant manager Donna Summers and explained to her that they had likely just been duped, asserting that Officer Scott was a fraud and his call was a hoax. It would be at this moment that Officer Scott would end the phone call. After this development,
Like,
Donna
are you
had
dumb?
finally come to the same disturbing realization that custodian
Had to
Sims
be
had.
RBG.
The employees had assisted some freak out there in abusing Louise. McDonald's upper management were soon notified about the situation, and it wouldn't be long until police would arrive as well.
Yeah, they
A
fried
criminal
they ass.
investigation and inquiry was launched.
And she
into
got
the
some money,
abuse of
too.
Louise Ogborn,
I think.
and authorities sought out to find the man that made the Officer Scott phone call. What Donna Summers and her employees didn't realize at the time of this incident taking place was that there was a serial hoax caller on the loose. An
Charlie, what's
unknown
good, boy?
man had been making threatening
How you
phone
doing?
calls all around the U.S. to individuals.
He was
and
calling multiple establishments from fucking payphones telling these niggas to do this. And guess what? They found the nigga that they think it was, and he didn't get no time.
Businesses impersonating
Not enough
authority
evidence.
figures and using blackmail to compel workers to perform sadistic acts that fulfill
Like, he
his
was
own
running it
sexual
up around the
fantasies,
country.
most of which targeted fast food restaurants or retail
That shit was
stores.
working, bro.
And after a long investigation, police would name a suspect. The man behind the McDonald's strip search call and many others was alleged by police to be 38-year-old David R. Stewart, a Walmart security guard from Panama City, Florida. According to police, David R. Stewart was found to have been in the possession of phone cards associated with call log data from the aforementioned abuse hoax calls, and police had surveillance footage of Stewart purchasing
All of
these
that.
very cards. As a result of what happened to Louise at McDonald's in Mount Washington, Kentucky, David Stewart was arrested
I'm
on
good,
June
bro.
30th
Get
of
into it, man.
2004 and was charged with impersonating a police officer and solicitation of sodomy. Walter Nix, Louise's most serious in-person abuser, was brought in on charges of sodomy and assault.
Yeah.
The man would
Yeah,
later
he
be
got-
found guilty and sentenced to serve 5 years in prison. Donna
Yeah.
Summers,
He needed to get caught up, bro. He was tripped. Shorty sat on his lap, all types of shit.
whose negligence helped facilitate the abuse of Louise, was convicted on misdemeanor charges and was sentenced to serve a year of probation. And what would become of David Stewart, the man alleged to have been behind this hoax call? Well, David Stewart was facing up to 15 years in prison for his alleged crimes. But during trial, the prosecution failed to provide any direct evidence proving David was the voice in the hoax call.
That boy
As
got
sadly,
off.
despite there being video recording from inside the McDonald's, the camera did not capture audio, nor was the phone call recorded in any other way.
That boy got
While police
off.
had connected him to the purchasing of phone cards related to hoax calls, the proof was only circumstantial in relation to the McDonald's case. Because of this, the jury did not find the man guilty, and he was acquitted of any criminal wrongdoing. Curiously, hoax calls of this sort completely stopped afterwards.
Right.
The accused man has never spent a day in prison stemming from this incident.
But other, like, you got managers and shit going probation, going to jail and shit, bro. He was running it up, bro. Why she get so little time? She was the hoe who convinced everyone else. Yeah, I don't know. She gonna, I don't know.
Crime, and he maintains a clean criminal record. As for Louise, the tragic victim of the McDonald's hoax call, in 2007, she would file a massive lawsuit against
Yeah, she
McDonald's,
got some money,
asking for $200 million.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Damages.
But she ain't get
Attorneys
that.
for McDonald's claim that the blame mostly belonged to Donna Summers for not recognizing the hoax and not the greater company. But in the
Okay.
end, they were found liable. Ultimately, Louise was awarded $1.1 million in punitive damages resulting from this case. And bizarrely enough, Donna Summers, the assistant manager, was awarded $400,000 herself in a separate civil suit filed against McDonald's. The premise of the case stating that McDonald's failed management by not informing them of the threat of hoax callers at the time. It's extremely frustrating that whoever was behind this call was never caught and brought to justice.
400 bands.
And in all honesty, if you ask me,
400
Louise should have got
bands?
way more money than what she got from these McDonald's lawsuits. The legacy of this case is deeply
400
unsettling to say the
bands?
least. In my opinion, this is likely the most disturbing fast food disaster in history, and will live on as a cautionary tale showcasing the abuse of authority figures and why one should always be wary when communicating with someone under anonymity.
400 bands? Oh, yeah?